should be live. Let me just go through final checks. Okay. Let me just get a quick check 1 2.
Check 1 2.
All right. Let me turn your volume up real quick. All right. 13. Widely considered the unluckiest number in the world, it is a shadow that hangs over calendars, hotel floors, and today, even the racetrack. Today, the 13th of September, Gran Turismo's Best tackled the 13th round of the Scorpio Super Formula Championship and the most fearsome, most gruesome, most challenging track on the calendar, appropriately nicknamed the Green Hell. Welcome to the Nürburgring. Folks, welcome back to the Scorpio Super Formula Series. I'm Scorpio Blade, joined in the broadcast booth once again by the lovely Scorpio Ivan. Go ahead and say hello.
Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. It's the first time actually sitting on the sidelines for me this year, but I'm sure we have a great race ahead of us on a very challenging track. Expect a lot of fights, a lot of offs, and a lot of tears, but at the same time, at the end, a lot of champagne for the lucky top 3.
Absolutely.
They will be.
Absolutely. As you can see, qualifying is underway at the moment. We'll do a quick update regarding some procedural changes for that before the flying laps begin. Qualifying has been updated to a 20-minute session, so these drivers should get probably 3 or 4 laps in or so, depending on how quickly they're able to get around the track for their outlap. So hopefully we'll see some lap times coming in shortly. We're expecting pole to be around a 5-minute 14-ish second lap time if these drivers' practice is anything to go by. Moving on, why don't we give a quick championship update? Obviously, last time out, Super S2K wasn't with us for the round at Spa, which left a door wide open for Nico to sneak in and actually bookended the summer break that we had, winning both at Goodwood and Spa last time out. So he has been able to close the gap now to just 11 points between himself and Super S2K. But let's not forget AMS Drift King Ryan is still equally in the hunt, only 27 points back off of Super S2K. Top 3 still all in with a fantastic shot. Further back in the standings, the battle for 4th has heated up as well. Following his second podium of the season, Sanchez has been able to close in to just 4 points behind Peme, who still holds on to that spot. Sanchez having also jumped ahead of Distinct Fellow, who is now 4 points back from him. But it is not just a three-way battle. Larson and Gramenos are tied on points and are only 9 back from Payme. And let's not forget Supa and Lester, who are a further 5 and 9 points back, respectively. So while our top 3 in the standings may have run away just a little bit, the chasing pack, 4th through 10th, are separated by less than 20 total points. And so now, perfect timing, Super S2K will round the final corner to begin his first of hopefully a few outlaps. Oh, but he's dirtied it somewhere, unless Gran Turismo's pulling tricks on me again. So this lap could be invalidated for him already. Ivan, do you have anything to add?
I think that it might be just Gran Turismo being Gran Turismo, because it's almost
yes, it
impossible
is.
here to get track limits. And S2K, he's been practicing really, really a lot, and he's been very motivated. I actually spoke to him before the race, and he said that I just know that everyone is probably going to wreck. I always think I can win. That's the only attitude you should have. And that was his words, like in his pre-race statement. So I think he's very clear that he's here to win, and he's here to extend the championship gap, and we expect him to do well because he's done a lot of endurance races here, including the 24-hour races, so he knows this track really well.
Absolutely. And yes, having now reset the spectate cam, he is still on for a validated lap time as he rounds up to the what section of the track are we at? I gotta find a better track map. Oh dear. Trying to find it. What corner are we at? Dang German names, I can't pronounce any of them. Regardless,
okay, we are somewhere around the track. I gave up
somewhere around the track. 20 kilometers, whatever those are, of circuit around here. Very long track, because that was actually a rear lockup for Super S2K coming into one of the slowest corners on the circuit. Now coming through the village section, medieval castle off to the driver's right-hand side as he now climbs back up the hill and approaches round about the halfway point of the lap. 2 minutes 15 into it so far, but obviously now he's into a much higher speed portion of the lap, so looks like he should be on for a very good lap time. Of course, typical Scorpio Super Formula qualifying rules still in effect. Drivers not allowed to use any of the overtake button in the qualifying session and on the opening lap of the race. So we will have to keep an eye on that as these drivers go through now. Looks like a couple drivers still hanging around the pit area. A couple of them might have reset after having a few offs. So as Super S2K now comes up to the carousel corner, let's just watch here, keeps it nice and smoothly into the banking. Got to be careful on throttle coming out, but looks like a solid lap nonetheless. Let's jump on board with Ryan, one of the other championship protagonists. Looks like he's also on for a fairly decent lap at the moment. A lot of these drivers given a bunch of these curbs a very wide berth with how dangerous it could be if they hit them wrong. Ivan, I know you asked a bunch of these drivers a few questions prior to the race today. What did Ryan have to say coming into today's event?
Yeah, indeed, I spoke pretty much to all of the drivers, and Ryan told me that I actually asked Ryan whether he still fights for the championship or he's just gonna help S2K to get further away from Nico, and his answer was very definitive. He said, I am not a number 2. Me and S2K are equal. I'm going for the win today and the title. So he's pretty clear on his intentions, and he's still hungry for the wins. Obviously, we have to mention that Ryan is one of the 2 drivers in the grid who have finished all the races that are not included in the drop scores, all the races are on the podium. So he won the first race, and then he finished every other race either second or third. So his consistency is incredible, and I believe that if he can just start fighting for the wins again and outscoring S2K and Nico, then who knows? Maybe he can fight for the title, but he definitely wants it.
Absolutely, as do all of these drivers, but as it stands, it looks like there will only be two who will be able to, or sorry, there will only be three in with a shot of still taking the title after today's running. 6 races left on the calendar, including today's event. Should be very exciting as we head over to Monza in a few weeks' time, which should be very exciting. Drivers now coming up to the end of the lap here. Super S2K across the line, 5 minutes 16.9 opening lap to set, but he runs it wide, and that will do it. Ryan goes faster at the time went away, 5:16.8, nearly a tenth quicker. Nico steals pole anyway by over a second, 5:15.48, new fastest of the session. Scrolling further down, Kastman looks like he will get himself into 4th place. All of these drivers resetting after they cross the line. Sanchez puts himself up into 4th place, jumps ahead of, oh goodness, I'm forgetting his name, Jason. Larson is down to 6th. Philo is in 7th. Roach has crossed the line in 8th, a 5-minute 25 lap time. Quackadilly has gone 9th, Supa has gone 10th, and then Payme is yet to set a lap time for the moment, as is Gramenos, as is Smye. So Nico has set the pace to beat over a second quicker, nearly a second and a half, over the rest of the field on that first flying lap. And I believe everyone should be able to get one more in before this session ends. So quite the benchmark for these drivers to go and beat. Speaking of Nico, what did Nico have to say in his pre-race interview, Ivan?
Yeah, just before we jump on to Nico, Nico is on pole because of Jason, really, because I'm watching Jason's stream as well at the same time. And Jason was doing purple sectors. He was like 2 seconds faster than Ryan, but then he spun just before the big straight in the end of the lap, and he dragged Nico along. So Nico was literally in a slipstream of recovering Jason for the whole back straight, and that's why Nico managed to get pole position. But
wow.
Yeah, so Nico actually said, I asked him what.
Yep, hello?
It's like to win, and probably survival is the greatest option to make it, but it doesn't fulfill me. So I always want to go at the highest pace I can get. Winning and getting the best pace is a feeling you can't compare, and especially if I'm able to deliver it here in Green Hell. I also asked him, what is your expectations for this race? He said crashes, a lot of crashes. The car is really unpredictable on these bumps. The single-seaters are not used to this kind of surfaces, so it will be pretty difficult, but at the same time spectacular, what other drivers are able to do. And I also asked him whether he believes he will still beat S2K for the title, and he said absolutely, that's what I'm here for. Every other interview, winning is my only...
I think your mic keeps cutting out, unfortunately. But still a strong pace from Nico. Obviously, a bit of slipstream would have helped him with that pole lap. Do we think slipstream alone would have been worth the 1.3 seconds that he was able to find over the AMS drivers?
I doubt it. I don't think it was over a second, but at the same time, if Jason hasn't spun, Jason was over 2 seconds above that time. Jason would have done like 5:13 if he didn't spin in the end of the lap. So I hope that Jason can pull it back together and do it with a second attempt.
Well, at the moment, Jason's current lap has him 7.5 back from the net pole position. So probably going to need to find a little bit of time elsewhere But still outlaps to be completed for all of these drivers for them to get back to the start-finish line and begin their final flying laps. 15 minutes have gone by through this session, so there will only be time for one more flying lap when they get back. Leading the train, if we can find who it is Super S2K. Will be the first car across the line to start the flying laps once again. Should be a very enthralling battle between these three. Top three in qualifying at the moment. Your top three in the championship standings. They have been utterly dominant so far this season, these three, and it has proved to be quite the battle between them, and I cannot wait to see how they are able to tackle today's running. Let's take a look. We mentioned Jason a little while ago. What did he have to say in his pre-race interviews?
I haven't actually interviewed him as such. We just spoke because, he's one of the next-gen drivers, so I actually practiced with him. I helped him a bit with the setup and with the strategy. We also tried to work on the tire wear because when I was practicing, I could make softs last longer than he could. So we just, it wasn't like the interview as such. It was just the preparation for the race. But he told me that he's so motivated to win here because he knows he has pace. He was one of the fastest in practice, and he's extremely motivated. He was very frustrated with himself after Spa when he made a couple of mistakes himself and had to bid for repairs. So he sees it as the redemption at the circuit that he really likes and knows really well from endurance racing.
Well, he looks like he's on for a fairly decent lap at the moment. If he set purple sectors on his first flyer, he's already almost 4/10ths up at the moment, so it should be a solid lap for the German as he comes through this first of many high-speed sections. Going to be late on the brakes as he comes into this corner here. A very fast-flowing downhill right-hander under the bridge, and there is another purple sector. He could be on for a pole position lap here. Looking a little further up the grid, Super S2K still heading the train as they come past one of the... oh, goodness gracious. This track map is useless.
You can say any name. You can say any name with the German accent. No one remembers the one.
Regardless, he's into the downhill section. Typically a very tricky section in most other cars, but these Super Formula machines, it's staggering how many of these corners are flat out for these drivers. Super S2K, a purple sector for him, 3/10ths up on his personal best. Can he find any more time? Nico has returned to the pit lane. He's not going to improve on his lap time. That will do it for him in qualifying. Whether he saw a sector split that he didn't like or if he potentially binned it into the wall, he has decided to pull out of the remainder of qualifying. And now it is all up to the AMS drivers or potentially the Scorpio drivers to see if they can jump ahead of Nico. Still flat out for Super S2K now, coming up to the carousel section. Another purple sector for him. Going to be hard and late under the brakes. Keeps it nice and tight through the corner. Using all of the track to his advantage now, coming up to the carousel. That looked even better than his previous time through. Less than 30 seconds remaining on the clock. If a driver were to start a new flying lap, I don't think there's going to be time. There's one more driver coming around to the end of the back straightaway to try and start another lap, but I don't think they have 5 minutes after the session to complete it. all eyes on Super S2K and the AMS drivers. Coming up through the YouTube corner, time has expired, 5/10 up on his personal best. Let's ride on board with Super S2K now as he comes through these final couple of sectors through the lap. He's going to have just over a minute remaining to get back to the line if he wants to beat Nico. So late on the brakes, using every ounce of track and then some through the mini carousel, and now just a few corners remaining and the long back straightaway, and he's completely flat out through this right-hander onto the back straight. 170 miles an hour as he crosses under the bridge. 6/10. He's going to need to have one hell of a final sequence, but it's certainly looking like a very good lap to potentially get him ahead of Ryan. We'll watch as Ryan comes across the sector here, see if he is on for a good lap as well. Crosses the split now, and he is also up on his best, but will it be enough?
Jason is doing a really good lap as well. He's also improved a lot, so all of these three drivers might jump Nico.
Super S2K out of the final corner and across the line, and he does take pole position, a 1:15.1 for now. What can Ryan do as he enters the final sector? Jason able to find third place, and now we'll jump back to Ryan. Just the final corner remaining, gets on power cleanly, crosses the line, won't be enough for pole, but does find third place. 15.8 for Ryan. Sanchez gets ahead of Jason at a 16.5. Supa is still on a lap. I don't know if he'll have time to get back, as is Quackadelli. I think that will do it for qualifying. So Super S2K, first race back for him after the summer break, will grab pole position at a 15.1, just ahead of Nico, who again did not use his final, or did not attempt a final flying lap. Ryan will start this race from third place, and then it is Larson in fourth, Sanchez fifth, and it will be Jason lining up sixth. Potentially going to be a little disappointed with that, but still a fantastic result for him to start from sixth place. Should still be actually on the start-finish straight, so obviously with how short of a start-finish straight this is, a couple cars might be starting a little bit around the final corner. So with how long of a lap it is, only 14 laps to complete this race. Tires won't, we're expecting the soft tires to only last around about 4 laps at this point. Ivan, at this point, what do you think would be going through these drivers' minds as they prepare for the start of the main event?
I think everything they will be thinking about is just not to crash. This track is about survival, and when I watched the practice, I could barely see a lap when someone wouldn't go off. So with how long the lap is, and with our damage repair rules, I think the most important thing is to keep it on track, especially on the first couple of laps.
And of course, and a quick reminder of those damage rules for everyone at home. On the opening lap, if drivers pick up damage on the opening lap, they can pit and repair damage as normal in game. But after that, if they damage a suspension component or their rear wing, it is a 30-second time penalty per component that they need to wait in the pit lane before they can resume damage service. So with a lap as long as it is, there is plenty of room for mistakes to be made We're not expecting lap traffic to be an issue here today, but if a driver picks up enough damage, there could be potential for it. Overtaking will be very tricky around a circuit as tight and narrow as this. Best opportunities for these drivers will most likely be down that long back straightaway into the final couple of corners. So it's going to be all about trying to set up a slipstream run through that, what is apparently a flat-out right-hander onto that straight, and then getting late on the brakes into the final chicane sequence. Of course, as per usual, drivers mandated to run the soft and medium compound tires. This race will be guaranteed to run dry. Gran Turismo does have in-game weather settings for this circuit, but just for the safety of the drivers, we have, I suppose, spoken to Mother Nature to make sure it stays dry out on track, so that we're not caught up by a sudden rain shower halfway through a lap.
Exactly, yeah. The lap is way too long to have the random settings, and if it starts raining when drivers still have 10 kilometers to go, then no one would survive, so we have decided to run this race dry.
All right, and it looks like we'll be getting going in just about 3 minutes' time. So, folks, don't go anywhere just yet. We're going to take a quick break while we finalize. While we finalize the starting grid and lobby settings, and then we will be back 14 laps here around the green hell. What will be surely a game of survival of the fittest. It should be very exciting indeed. Stay tuned.
And while we are waiting for the start of the race, I'd like to ask everyone to subscribe to our channel. Soon, Scorpio eSports will enter British Formula 4 eSports Championship. It is the official F4 championship in iRacing. We have two incredible drivers, and make sure to stay tuned. Subscribe to our channel, join our Discord, because this is huge. It's going to be a 32-car grid. We are one of the 16 teams, along with a few Formula One eSport team divisions. So we're going to have Ferrari, we're going to have Alpine, Red Bull, Williams, and I think Aston Martin. So yeah, Scorpio is lining up against the best, and make sure to follow us in this incredible journey as well, while we're waiting for the start of the Green Hell GP.
Should be going green in just a few moments' time. While we continue to wait for the session to go live, Ivan, I know a few of us have been watching along with the progress that's been made for Scorpio eSports to get into that British F4 eSports Championship, and it looks like both of our drivers seem to be pretty fast right out of the gate. Any comments on their progress and how they've been preparing for it? I think your mic might be a bit far away. We can't hear you.
All right,
There you go. And we lost you again. All right. Well, not much we can do about it, unfortunately. We are going green here, though. Should be very exciting indeed. Top 6 or 7, it looks like, will be actually starting on the start-finish straight. So Jason got very lucky with that qualifying spot, as the lights come on and we get ready to go underway here in the green hell. It is lights out and we are underway, and it is a very good start for Super S2K, immediately leading the field off into turn 1. Nico still holding on to P2 from Brian, from Larson, from Sanchez, your top 5. Jason in 6th, still holding on to that position. Supa and everyone looks to have held position off the grid. Everyone through cleanly so far as they come through the opening sectors of this long circuit. And we will focus back up front. Super S2K already out to about a 7.5 lead over Nico. Excuse me. Ryan starting to close in. Larson under attack from Sanchez up the inside. Nearly contact made. Larson just able to keep it on the gray stuff. Able to hold on for the moment, and he will get back around Sanchez. These two are going to be side by side potentially into the next heavy braking zone. Sanchez now going to look to the outside as Larson defends, and no, he'll think better of it. Larson will hold on to 4th place for now. Jason, that's allowed him to close back in that number 87 machine. Paint scheme finally loading in. Good thing. Sanchez still all over the back gearbox of Larson as they come into another very tricky sequence. Uphill braking, a lot of undulation, over 1,000 meters of elevation change in this, or around this, or sorry, it's 1,000 feet of elevation change, excuse me, around this 20-kilometer circuit, whatever those are. And Sanchez now potentially starting to fall into the clutches of Jason further back. It is still Super S2K leading the way from Nico, from Ryan, and Larson, your top 4. Sanchez rounds out your top 5, and Jason still holding on. These 3 will be going at it for sure for a few laps to come here. A little bit of a loose as these drivers struggle to apply the power coming out of that low-speed corner. Sanchez falling a little bit back from Larson, getting a couple tires up onto the grass. As actually Larson has now started to close in on Ryan, who's begun to drop off the back end of Nico. I think Larson now running the mediums to start. Could be, looks to have finally built up a bit of heat in those tires. And now, where does he look to make the move down this long, not quite a straightaway? Going to be very tricky to make an overtake happen here. A very tight, yet just about flat-out corner here. Larson having to sit in line behind. Nico has closed right up to the back bumper of Super S2K as they come into the braking zone. Larson looked for an opening on Ryan. Not going to happen, as everyone now makes their way into the carousel. Super S2K still leading from Nico, from Ryan, from Larson. Sanchez has Jason all over his rear bumper. It is a hectic opening lap, and yet somehow I believe this might have been the cleanest start to a race we've seen out of these Super Formula drivers so far this season. Everyone trying to make sure that they get through clean. As we look back up toward the front, Super S2K has been able to build a bit more of a gap from Nico, as has Ryan over Larson. Dirty air potentially playing a bit more of a factor for these drivers now. Everyone starting to spread out just a little bit more. Nico still doing a very good job to hold on to Super S2K, though, as they make their way down to the final sequences of the lap. Still a minute to go, though, for this first opening lap. We'll ride on board with Nico here as he looks to try to set up a move here. Through the mini carousel, he's going to keep it nice and tight, going to get a not quite as good of an exit as Super S2K, but they're going to be completely flat out now through this opening sequence, or flat out right hand. Oh, goodness gracious. Super S2K already looking to try to break the slipstream. Again, reminder, no overtake button allowed to be used on the opening lap. As Ryan has actually been able to close back in rather quickly on Nico and Super S2K on the tail end of that lap. Slipstream coming into effect a little bit. But I would imagine Super S2K has a little bit more straight line speed tuned into that car. As they will all round the final corner and complete lap 1 of 14 here at the Nürburgring. 8/10 still the lead for Super S2K. As hopefully we'll try to get Ivan back in. Unfortunately, he's having a few internet issues, it sounds like. Oh, Nico with a huge snap of oversteer mid-corner. That's going to cost him a couple tenths, and has. Going to drop back to about a second back from Super S2K. Ryan still holds third, then Larson from Sanchez from Jason again. All right. Jason now finally able to use a little bit of overtake as he closes in on Sanchez. He's going to look to the inside here for this next corner, getting right up onto the grass potentially, and Sanchez is going to be able to hold it round the outside. Finds an opening on the right-hand side. He's going to try to use overtake to get back through. And does just about. Jason now up into the top 5. And we're going to try to get Ivan back in. Snap of oversteer. Sorry, folks. Give me just a moment. Ivan, are you there?
Yeah. I'm here. I'm back.
All right. Thank goodness.
Very much.
I apologize for the wait. We were watching a battle as Jason got around Sanchez. Half a second between those drivers now as they come into the slowest part of the lap, as Jason will now set his sights on Larson ahead. Got just over a second to close in. Purple sector for him, though, on this opening lap, or on this first flying lap, I should say, of the race. And he will continue to try to close in. Nico still holding about a second back from Super S2K for the time being. Neither of them have used their overtake just yet. Ryan has just begun to start to use his. Larson has actually been all over the overtake button on this lap, as has Jason. Sanchez yet to use his. Supa toying with it a little bit now on the straight. Gramenos has drained a lot of it already on this lap. Then further back, top 8 seem to have split away from the rest of the pack. That next train led by Philo, then Roach, Quackadilly, Alex, Smy, and Payme out back. Oh, I think Super S2K got a little bit wide going through the carousel. He had 2 tires drop out of the upper lip. That allowed Nico to close in under 8/10 now. But it's going to be a very tricky section to try to stay close through here, though, so we'll see how he fares. Larson has once again closed up to the back of Ryan for looking for third. And Jason, continuing to save a bit of overtake button, has dropped back to 2 seconds behind Larson. We'll ride on board with Larson as he continues in pursuit of Ryan up front. Using a little more overtake again as he looks to stay close to be able to use slipstream and overtake potentially down this back straightaway. Realistically, one of the probably 2 legitimate overtaking opportunities on this circuit. 20 kilometers long, and not many places to realistically think about making a move in cars as fast as this. I probably fell out of the second carousel just a little bit too early, earlier than he would have liked. Still potentially with a run out of that high-speed corner. Tucked up in the slipstream, but of course Ryan's got the draft effect from Nico and Super S2K ahead. All four of these drivers still very close to each other. Is now climbing the hill. Larson getting closer. 2/10 back now as he comes toward that final sector.
Yeah, Larson
Can he find an opening?
Overtake.
He's drained the overtake. It looked like nearly contact, but no, he was able to hold on to it. No damage for either driver. Larson thought about trying to find a gap that just wasn't there, and he'll have to sit in line until the next overtaking opportunity, which will be toward the end of the lap. If you can see the track map, folks at home, up in the top right-hand corner, that leftmost part of the circuit, that will be the next overtaking opportunity for these drivers, if any of them can get close. Larson with a huge snap of oversteer, though, as he comes out of that corner, and it's now flat out all the way to that braking zone. Despite, I believe, over 120 unique corners on this track, many of them surprisingly flat out in this car. Jason has continued to pull away from Sanchez. He now leads him by about 7/10, and then it is 3 seconds back from Sanchez back to Supa, or back from Sanchez to Supa, who runs in 7th. A further 8.5 back, running 8th, and then it is Roach, followed by Alex, Quackadilly. Payme has actually gotten around Smai now, who I believe has just come out of the pits, so I would assume he picked up a bit of damage on that previous lap. Though it looks like it was just a front wing. Super S2K now with the biggest lead he's had all race so far at about 1.4 seconds over Nico, who will look to try to close in. Nico's actually used a little more overtake than Super S2K, surprisingly. And then it is still Ryan from Larson. This is still the closest battle on track at the moment, these two battling for the final podium spot. Ryan looking, of course, as you mentioned, to hold on to that 100% podium rate, as I think Larson ran it a bit wide, got out onto the grass, had to save it, and he is now dropped into the clutches of Jason behind. Costly mistake for Larson. Unfortunately, I think we've been starting to see a little bit more and more as the season has progressed. We saw he was one of the few drivers who could keep up with and really compete against Super S2K all the way back in the 2 rounds at the Red Bull Ring. Ultimately, unfortunately, he just hasn't seen the same success at the other tracks on the calendar.
But here, I spoke to him before the race. He actually said that he will take it as carefully as possible without pushing too hard, because he said that he hasn't really had much.
Oh, call around Nico! Nico has spun it coming out of the carousel. I apologize for cutting in there. Unfortunately, he's ripped off his front suspension and front wing, so that's going to be a costly mistake for Nico. Oh, dear. Hopefully the replay caught it. Let's see if we can catch that. And yes, we will be able to see what happened here. Unfortunately, just a little bit high coming out of the carousel, snap of oversteer, and got into the inside wall. Had to be very careful reversing back out of the track. And that's going to drop him outside the top 5, unfortunately for him. There were yellow flags out on the circuit. Looks like everyone is still fine for the moment. Larson has been able to catch back up to Ryan. And then, I think it was Jason was the reason for the yellow flags. No damage on his car, but he has dropped back behind Sanchez by over 2.5 seconds. So highly unfortunate for him, as we will watch as Larson looks to set up another potential move on Ryan as they come back out onto the main straight.
Yeah, just I was saying that Larson told me that he's gonna take it easy. At this exact moment, Nico crashed. So that's what some of the drivers were saying. Sometimes you just have to survive, especially when you fight for the championship. No unnecessary risks. Big shame for Nico.
And they're going to be side by side, a little bit of contact potentially as they crest the hill. Larson draining the overtake to try to make the overtake happen before the braking zone, and does. Larson now up into second place, but 1.7 back from Super S2K, and with not a lot of overtake left to use. If he's going to drain it like he has in order to get past Ryan, he's going to need to save all of that for that overtake to make it work. But no! Larson crashes. He got up. I don't know if he dropped a wheel on the grass, but he has slammed into the tire wall. He's got 2 suspension damage and a rear wing, and of course the front wing's gone. And that is a horrible place to crash right at the start of the lap, too. So he's going to have to nurse that thing all the way around these next 18, 19 or so kilometers. And then he's going to have to wait a further minute and a half for repairs. Horrible break for Larson at the start of lap 4. And so what that means now, Ryan is now promoted back up into the second place position, 2.5 back from Super S2K. Super S2K, plenty of overtakes still to use. If these two, all they have to do is just keep their noses clean, and it will be yet another AMS 1-2 on the season. And how about Sanchez looking to go back-to-back for podiums here now? Sanchez with a purple opening sector, so he's on for good pace as well. Now, Ivan, you talked about Larson wanting to take it easy. What do you think happened there that he just lost the back end?
Yeah, I mean, this track is generally extremely difficult for anyone, you know. I don't really know what happened there. It just looked like he was too happy to be in a second place. Maybe he thought that he can challenge for the lead and forgot what he told me about taking it easy and immediately dropped it. But yeah, when with Sanchez, it's really good, you know. And actually, when I spoke to him before the race, he said, I will most likely just try to survive since it's pretty easy to crash. And he said that he has a tire wear disadvantage because he's on a controller, but he said that he will try to survive and get another podium. And who knows, maybe he will survive and get another podium. We'll see.
Well, he's certainly running well for the time being, comfortably in third place at the moment as he has continued to run away from Jason, who's actually starting to fall back into the clutches of Supa, who has continued to close in. Looking to build on that battle for fourth. Sanchez much closer to Ryan than Jason is to him for the moment. I believe most of these drivers all running the medium compound tire for the moment. They'll be looking to get around about to the end of lap 6, I believe, to make that strategy work. Back toward the front, Super S2K continuing to pull away from his teammate, now up to a 3-second advantage over Ryan for the moment, as he continues to work this evidently very hectic lap 4. Looking further back down the grid, see what the next closest battle potentially is out on circuit. Everyone seems to be rather spread out for the time being. Looks like Larson slowly being caught by Payme, so he'll hope to be able to hold on to that 9th place position before Payme can get up to him. Try to do a bit of damage limitation for his race. Payme now up into the top 10. Smai running in 11th. Nico still running with the damage for the moment, running 12th, and then it is Alex bringing up the rear in 13th. Although he has just come out of the pit lane as well. Contact for Alex, and he has clobbered the wall. That'll be suspension and a front wing for him that he'll need to get repaired. Out onto the back straightaway now. Super S2K got caught a little bit at the tail end of that lap. That seems to be Ryan's strong suit, is the latter half of this very, very long lap. Closed in half a second on his teammate, and actually pulled quite a bit of a gap over Sanchez. Top 5 still all kind of within the same camera shot, so Supa on for a strong finish if he can keep this pace up. As they will come around the final few corners here, just looking to make sure no one decides to pull off into the pits early. And no, they're all running the medium compound tires anyway. Ivan, I don't know if you happened to speak to Supa before the race today. Did he have anything to say?
Yeah, he actually said that he's going to try and take it easy as well and pick up the pieces. And he said that he believes that this race can be his maiden podium, because he was always close but never quite got it. So, yeah, he said that he actually he feels fairly comfortable around the track, and he feels confident going at
Oh
full speed.
no! Commentator's curse, he's gone for his spin early in the lap. That'll be rear wing damage. Fortunately, that is the only damage he picked up. He didn't clip the tires on the wall. Oh my goodness. That's the 3rd time now this season I've done that. Highly unfortunate. Supa, I'm really sorry. That will be very tricky to get back to the pit lane. Fortunately, no suspension damage, so it should hopefully be still pretty decent for him. He's still got all the mechanical grip he would have had. But he's going to need to be very careful through high-speed sections like this, and toward the end of the lap as well, to make sure he doesn't lose the back end like he nearly did again. Horrible circumstance for him. Hopefully he's able to hold on to it. Should still be able to maintain P5, depending on how long it takes him to get that rear wing repaired. Obviously, he's got the 30 seconds he'll need to wait. But with
he's going to end up P7,
yeah,
because the gaps behind are too big, so he's going to rejoin in P7 or P8, and it's still over like just the 3rd way through the race, so it's still a long way to go.
Absolutely. So hopefully he'll be able to salvage a top 5 out of this. Of all the cars we've seen wreck, unfortunately, today, certainly not the worst we've seen, so fingers crossed for him. Back up toward the front, Jason still lapping about 10 seconds behind Super S2K for the moment, now getting up to nearly 11 seconds. Sanchez still just about hanging off the back of Ryan for the time being. I know he's done that a few times so far this season. Typically runs up inside the top 7 or so. And then, of course, Ryan still running in P2 and has continued to slip a little bit behind Super S2K for the moment, now 4.5 seconds back from the lead. Super S2K out of the carousel clean. We'll look to make sure Ryan does as well, and he does. Sanchez actually a little bit wide through the carousel, so that'll cost him a bit of time. And that could allow Jason to get back up toward him. Jason actually has been closing in over the past lap and a half. That gap was about 4.5 seconds a lap or so ago. He's now brought it down to just about 3 seconds back. So could Jason find his way onto the podium? Which I believe would be his first of the season.
Yeah, given how many people were cursed already, I don't even want to talk about Jason because I really want him to do well.
Looking further back once again, like you mentioned, everyone's starting to become a bit more spread out for the moment. Roach having a fairly decent running in 7th place at the moment. Fellow running in 6th. Quackadilly running 8th, Payme 9th. Smy has now gotten himself into the top 10, with everyone having their offs on the circuit for the moment. And Alex is the last car still out on track circulating for the moment. Larson is in the pit lane and has been for some time, so I believe he is going to be retiring from the race, as is Nico, unfortunately. So 2 of our fastest drivers out for the remainder of the race, it looks like. One of them in championship contention. What is this going to do? Obviously, Nico won the last 2 races, which realistically brought him back into the title fight. But that 11-point gap that he brought it down to is going to start to grow again after today. Highly unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why Nico gave up so easily. You know, he only had 1 minute in the pits. You know, you never know what's going to happen with other drivers. You should keep fighting, I think. I don't know why these drivers give up so easily.
Very unfortunate indeed. Super S2K now 5-second lead over Ryan, so evidently I don't know if he's heard my comment about Ryan being better in the latter half of the lap, but he's continued to grow that gap. Supa into the pit lane, though, for what should be the first legitimate stop of the day in terms of primary strategy. And he's going to serve that 30-second wait for the rear wing change. So that will allow Roach to go through up into P6. Quackadilly will join Supa in the pit lane. He does not have any damage on the car, so he will be able to have a much shorter stop. Payme is still actively being chased by James for the moment. And they will both jump into the pit lane. Payme actually has a front suspension damage, so he's going to need to wait on that as well, unless he feels he can continue with it. And Alex is about a third of the lap behind them, so he should still run 11th as the pit cycle goes through. Super S2K continuing to lead, just ever so slowly building on that gap he's built out for the moment. And we expect him potentially into the pit lane this time by. Although, given the state of his tires, he might be able to get 7 laps out of those. Not going to do him any good because he needs to run a stint on the soft tires at least, but I mean, if he goes into full tire conservation mode, could he potentially do a one-stop? Run about 8 laps or so on the mediums and then go for the final 6 on softs?
No, it's not going to be possible. I think what they're going to do is they're going to do 6 laps on mediums and then two 4-lap stints on soft. That would be the ultimate strategy here.
All right, then. So expect Super S2, or expect all of our front runners really into the pits this time. Then, still about a 5.5 second lead over Ryan. Sanchez has been able to close back into about 2.5 back from Ryan, and he is built on the gap back to Jason, who is now give or take 5 seconds back. And then it is a further 22 and a half back to Philo, who is now into the top 5. This could be a very good result for Philo here today if he's able to keep his nose clean for the remaining third or so of this race. Or 2/3, I should say, of this race, excuse me. Jason evidently with a slightly better exit out of the carousel than Sanchez that time through, as the time interval came down a little bit. Everyone just looking to keep their nose clean, I say, as Ryan has a bit of a squirrel coming out of the YouTube corner section. Let's ride on board with Ryan here. Worn out tires. Or no, sorry, that's YouTube corner that he just went through, excuse me. It's not officially called YouTube Corner, but if you ever go onto the website, that's typically one of the more popular corners where content creators tend to set up and watch people on their track days. Always a fun watch for those who could be interested. Let's watch Ryan as he comes through this latter half of the lap here. Looks to be one of his stronger sections that we saw in qualifying. And he really likes to only get out to about the middle of the track as he exits that mini carousel. Is that just a line that they take to try to avoid any bumps that might be a bit further out, or is it just all about trying to preserve momentum for the main straight?
I think it's to be on power earlier, because they sort of point the car towards the exit, and that mini carousel, as you say, it's a banked corner, so they need to straighten up the car earlier to be on power earlier. So yeah, they're doing it deliberately for sure.
Let's see. As we'll jump on board with Super S2K, and he will come into the pit lane here for his first of what we believe will be 2 stops on the day. As does Super S2K. Sanchez comes in, and so will Jason. We'll watch as Philo closes in on the pit area, still now coming up to the end of the back straight. And Super S2K out of the pits, and onto another set of mediums. So Super S2K is onto another set of mediums. Playing it safe, potentially, for tire wear?
Yeah, sometimes if the drivers are not sure that they can make the softs last for 4 laps, they will go maybe 5 laps more on mediums and then 3 laps on softs in the end.
Very interesting. Jason has followed Super S2K for that tire strategy, also out on the mediums. But both Ryan and Sanchez are out on the softs. So could this be how Ryan looks to challenge for victory here today?
Yeah, potentially. In practice, the softs were around 5 to 6 seconds a lap faster than the mediums. So if he is able to utilize that grip, he will catch up to Super S2K in about a lap.
So we'll keep an eye on that toward the once they get more towards the back straightaway. A little bit of a squirrel coming out under braking through that corner, though. Got to be careful, though. But as you say, he's already taken a few tenths out of Super S2K's lead. First time he's done that in quite a while this race. Sanchez, though, looks to really be on it at the moment. Now under 2 seconds again to Ryan. So potential for a 3-way battle for the win might be heating up here as this race progresses. We'll look further back the grid. Philo also out on the softs. Roach is on the mediums, but he's picked up damage, look! Roach has picked up front suspension damage. Where has he done that, unfortunate? What a shame. He's got Supa all over the back of him. Of course, Supa on an alternate strategy, needing to pit a little earlier. It looked like it might have been a bit of a lag contact there between the two. And Quackadilly out on the softs as well, as is Smye, but I don't... yes, he did pit that previous lap. Payme is into the pits, preparing a front wing, and then Alex is still circulating in 11th. Back up front gap, under 6 seconds now. Ryan continuing to close in, but still being fairly cautious, I would say, in his pursuit of his teammate out front. Could be very interesting in a lap or two's time if Ryan is genuinely able to catch up to Super S2K. Will absolutely have the grip advantage through the corners. The question is going to be, can he make them last long enough as we rapidly approach the halfway point of this race. Yeah, you can see he had a lot better grip going through the carousel. Took almost 3/10 out of Super S2K through that corner alone. Still being cautious, it looks like, though. Not really closing in at a crazy rate just yet. Super S2K, though, can afford to really thrash those tires around if he only needs to go a few laps on them. Ryan continuing to close in now. It looks like...
Jason just spun. Jason just spun. Show the replay if you can.
We'll see if we can catch it. Hopefully. We're watching the replay now. He did go for a spin. Fortunate, I don't know how he managed it, but it's only the front wing that took damage. So still an unfortunate circumstance, but I believe he'll be able to at least manage it for now to get back to the pit lane. And of course, he's not going, because it's only the front wing, he's not going to have any additional time penalties he needs to worry about with it. And then back up front as they come onto the back straightaway. Only gained about a second over Super S2K on this first lap so far. So Ryan's still in with a chance, but he's going to need to put a little more caution to the wind if he wants to be able to catch Super S2K. And ideally needs to do it before the final pit sequence, because I would imagine both of them will be going on to the softs. So Super S2K leading by 5.7 now, as Ryan begins, or as they both begin now, lap 8, officially halfway through this race. And now we see Ryan is starting to close in a little quicker now. Jason has come into the pit lane to repair that front wing damage. We'll keep an eye out for what tires he also goes with here to try to get to the, or potentially try to get to the end. But might decide to make another stop on top of it. So,
yeah,
and he is out onto the softs. Yeah, oh, nearly contact between him and Philo. That's going to get close on exit. We'll keep an eye on this. Jason, of course, on a fresh set of tires. Going to try to look for a way around Philo. Definitely has the pace advantage. Roach into the pits as well now. Does Jason look to make the move here? If he uses a bit of overtake, he might be able to catch Philo here. Otherwise, he'll need to sit behind him for a little bit. And looks like he will need to do so. So back up toward the front. Blue flags, actually, for Super S2K, who is catching Payme. Payme looks to have just come out of the pits, though, for a second stop. So that would explain why he's becoming a lap car. But what this is also doing is it's creating a bit of dirty air for Super S2K, and it's allowed Ryan to really close in through that last sequence, taking a second out of him already. Down to 4.8. Will Payme be the benefiting factor for Ryan here?
Jason just had an accident with Philo, if you can catch it on replay.
Oh, goodness. Hopefully we'll be able to catch it. Jason is up into 4th, and no, it looks like it already happened, unfortunately. So Jason has gotten around Philo. Doesn't look like either of them have any damage on their cars, which is a great sign. Still highly unfortunate, though. Payme still in front of Super S2K here, so how is Dirty Air going to affect him here as he continues to close up to the back marker? Ryan still looking to hunt Super S2K down. Realistically, we'll probably want that gap to the lead to be about 4-ish seconds by the time he gets back to the start-finish line, so he needs to probably get a little more of a hustle on for the moment. Payme looks to have just enough pace to keep out of Super S2K's way for the time being. Gap holding fairly steady at about 4.7, 4.8. Of course, those tires for Ryan are gonna start to hurt here if he's not careful, though.
Yeah, while we are watching this battle, can I just say I really don't understand why Nico gave up, because Nico had the same damage as Supa, and Nico was already around 20 seconds ahead of Supa. So Nico could have easily been P4 now and chasing back to Sanchez, but for some reason he just gave up. I really don't understand it. Every point counts when you fight for the championship.
Yeah. Very strange indeed, as somehow Philo's managed to pick up a half-second penalty somewhere. Around this place, I don't really know where you could pick up a time penalty for track limits like he has, but he somehow managed it. So I guess props to him for finding every bit of advantage he can, and then some. As Payme will now let the top 3 go through. And it looks like Ryan will ultimately finish this lap 4.8 behind his teammate. So closing in, that last lap of 5:21, 5:21 dead to a 5:21.8. So 8 tenths taken out on that previous lap.
Yeah, Ryan should have been closing by a lot more. And
yeah.
he now has tires that are much more worn than S2K, so Ryan no longer has this pace advantage because he's soft.
Just looking over into the chat, penalty for giving up? No, I don't think there will be any additional penalty for giving up. It's more just confusion as to why he decided to retire the car so early. Unfortunately, it looks like Ivan's picked up a bit of a internet issue. Hopefully you folks at home can still hear me. As Super S2K sets another purple sector in his effort to maintain and build upon his championship lead for the moment. We know he's going to build on the 11-point gap he had over Nico coming into today's race. The question, of course, now Will he be able to build on the 27-point lead over Ryan, who is still hot on his heels? But that gap is growing. The time gap, I should say. Back to 5.2 for Super S2K. As Sanchez looks to continue to fall back here. Top 3, only cars who have not made a mistake yet today. I should say, we did expect this. It was a pretty common consensus throughout the paddock that in order to win and run well today, you were going to need to be able to run flawlessly without making any mistakes. And as it stands, only the top 3 have been able to showcase that pace without putting it in a wall. As Payme goes off track there. Fortunately for him, able to hold on to it and keep it out of the wall. So good for him. And so, as we work past the halfway point of lap 9 here, we would imagine it's going to be about a lap and a half from now that these drivers will make their final stop. Of course, Super S2K is still required to run a set of the soft compound tires to meet the requirements to get to the end. Excuse me. Ryan will have a free choice of tire, whether he decides to strap on a set of mediums or another set of softs to get to the end here. Hasn't put a foot wrong yet today, but ultimately just doesn't quite seem to have the pace to take the fight to Super S2K just yet. Sanchez still holding on to third place for the moment. That is not a battle for position. That is Payme running 11th behind him. Kastman has grown his advantage over Philo by about 11 seconds now. Philo now 10 ahead of Supa. Yeah, so like Ivan said, if Nico had just repaired the damage and got back in it, realistically could have been battling Jason for 4th here.
Yeah, he would actually have been ahead of Jason because Jason pitted for damage as well. So Nico would have been catching up Sanchez now.
Oh, it's an additional 31 seconds up to Sanchez, and of course Jason obviously he pit the additional time, but that's also only a front wing, so that's not the 30-second penalty for
fair enough.
An additional part. So it would be quite a tall order to catch up to Sanchez. But I mean, if he was able to do it and was able to catch Sanchez, Ryan's only a further 4.5 seconds up the road, so he wouldn't have been out of the question. Speaking of, Ryan into the pits early. So I would imagine this will be for a final set of mediums to get to the end here.
Yeah, so he did 3 laps on softs and now gonna do 5 laps on mediums. Yeah, looks like it.
Clean stop for the AMS driver, and it is a set of mediums to go to the end. We'll see if this undercut strategy works. Remember, he was just about 5 seconds back from Super S2K. So now we'll see just how much those fresh tires are worth. That said, Super S2K's tires look to be in still pretty good condition. So we'll keep track of this. It's 24 seconds between himself and Ryan when Ryan exited the pits. So we'll keep that number in mind when Super S2K, we assume, comes into the pits either this lap or next. Super out of the pits onto another set of mediums to go to the end. Jason running the softs for the moment won't be able to get to the end on these tires, so he'll need to pit again, as will Philo. Supa should be able to go easily to the end, but he's 25 seconds behind Philo at the moment. And Quackadelli out on the mediums should be able to go to the end, I would imagine. James out on the softs will likely need to pit again, unfortunately, unless he can really save those tires, though that's not exactly been a strong suit of his. Roach is on the mediums, but they're old, so he'll probably need to get pit one more time. And then it is Alex and Payme who round out the grid. Alex actually with the suspension damage as he goes for a spin and just grazes the rear wing on the wall. Fortunately, no damage for him on that occasion. But he will likely fall back into the clutches of Payme when he inevitably pits to repair that car. So, halfway through this outlap now, and Ryan has taken out about half a second over Super S2K, gap now down to 23.4. So perhaps those fresh tires could be worth the undercut here. Could be very interesting because I would imagine Super S2K will need to go one more lap if his teammates' tire wear on the softs is anything to go by. But then, of course, he will most likely come out directly behind his teammate and on fresher, softer rubber. So, could be a very exciting battle. Of course, assuming Ryan is able to make the undercut work.
Yeah, Ryan needs to get around 4 seconds more out of S2K to actually overtake him. So he needs to do a better job. Otherwise, it's not really going to work. The gap must be around 18 and a half, 19 seconds to overtake. So he needs to do a better job catching up.
Well, he's taken quite a sizable chunk out of him there through that downhill section. Gap back under 23 seconds. So yet another half second taken out just in that section alone. And he is into this very rhythmic tail end of the lap that we've seen Ryan be so consistent with lap in and lap out. Can he find any more time here? And what does Super S2K do for his pit strategy? Super S2K onto the main straight for the moment.
Super S2K has only one choice. He's going to go into softs. He hasn't used softs yet.
No, of course. Yes, he's going to pit onto the softs. The question I have would be, does he pit now or does he need to stay out? Or elect to stay out? We'll watch him on the entry here, and no, he does stay out for yet another lap. And those tires will definitely be starting to fall off now. Jason, though, I will give props, has set the fastest lap of the race so far, 5:19.2. So can Ryan find the lap time he needs to get within a pit stop window? 4 laps to go here in Germany. Ryan's going to need to pick up the pace. Yellow flag. It's not for Super S2K. I believe it's just Payme. He's picked up a bit of rear wing damage, and he's going to let the lead lap cars go through. So good sportsman-like showing from him to stay out of these drivers' way. Philo into the pits for what should be his final stop on the day. Castman will likely be following Super S2K into the pit lane on this lap as well. Sanchez, actually, purple sector as he drops down the hill. Continuing to close in on Ryan at this point in time. And actually, Sanchez, we saw he followed Ryan into the pits. He's going for another set of softs.
Yeah, if you work with tires well, also remember the cars are much lighter now, so it's possible to do 4 laps on softs for sure.
That is true, but he put those on a lap ago, so he would do 5 laps to the end, no?
He put it in the end of lap 10, I think, no? I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Looking at, unless I'm reading timing and score, no, because his lap 9 was a 5:39, so he pitted at the end of lap 9 with Ryan.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, we'll see. I don't know if he can make it to the end.
So 5 laps on softs, running on a controller.
Well, it's gonna be tough.
It will, yeah. And he's closing in at a rate of knots as well. For now, at least. This could be very exciting. 1.8 the gap. Ryan over Sanchez. Of course, the gap we're also trying to keep an eye on is Ryan up to Super S2K. Although it looks like Ryan has lost about 0.6 of a second since the beginning of this lap, unfortunately. Which would also explain his delta time at the moment. Don't think the undercut is going to work, unfortunately, as Super S2K has continued to pull away for the moment.
Yeah, S2K just seems to be faster on pace, just faster outright, you know, regardless of tires, regardless of anything, he's just quicker.
Showcasing dominant pace once again. We'll keep an eye, our eyes on Sanchez for the time being as he continues to close in on Ryan here. He could cause him some trouble toward the end of this. Of course, if he can make the overtake happen sooner rather than later, he can sort of dictate Ryan's pace through the trickier parts of the track where overtaking really isn't an option. And then as long as he has enough overtake in the tank, and he does have more than Ryan, he could try to burn it all on the last lap in a defensive well, goodness gracious words, an attempted defense. Not many places to overtake on this circuit. It could work, but he's going to need to get there, and he ran a bit wide out of that mini carousel, so only getting more difficult as time goes by here.
Yeah, his tires are gonna be dead on the last 2 laps, so even if he manages to overtake Ryan now, I don't see how he can defend, because the softs will be dead by the end of the race.
And Super S2K has stayed out yet again. He does know he needs to use both sets of tires, right?
Yeah, I think what he wants to do is he knows that Ryan is not fast enough to make the undercut work, so S2K will pit in the end of this lap to have a lighter car to make sure that he sets the fastest lap and gets the extra point. So he wants to have fresh tires on a lighter car to be able to beat Jason's time.
Very interesting. Although that could be risky, though. If he's going for a qualifying-esque lap, he's got to be careful to not put it into the wall, because that could absolutely tarnish his race if he does. Speaking of Jason, he is into the pits again. His tires are shot, so he will jump into the pit lane for what will be his final stop of the race with 3 laps to go. Sanchez looks to continue to fall off of Ryan now. Now 2.3 back from the AMS driver. Ryan 23.5 back from Super S2K. So, like you said, doesn't look like he's quite got the pace to make a pit lane strategy work out for him. And now Super S2K is going to come up to the back of, I believe that was Roach, will be the next lap car he encounters. Gonna need to be careful, though, that he doesn't get impeded, especially through this section here. A very tight section, not many places for lap cars to go. It also means that it could allow Ryan to close in a little bit more here. And he has done. He's taken about 3/10 out of him in the last few moments. Back under 22 seconds, but he's going to need a few more seconds. Like Ivan mentioned, he's looking to get to about 18.5 or so if he wants to get past Super S2K. Sanchez also looks like he's starting to close back in on Ryan as well. Jason, out on his own, running in 4th, should be fairly sorted to hold on to that spot with over 25 seconds either side of him. And then it is Philo running 5th, also pretty well situated in that position. Quackadilly even more so, nearly 40 seconds out front and behind. Then it's James running in 7th. Good showing from him. Another driver who's not quite had the pace, but has certainly kept it clean. And looks like he'll be able to bring it home 7th as long as he can hang on to it. Then it's Supa running in 8th. Roach, who we just saw... or no, it was Alex. I apologize. It was Alex who just went a lap down. In 10th, Roach is running 9th, the last car on the lead lap. And then, of course, Payme rounds out the cars still on circuit in 11th. We're into this back half of the lap again. And Ryan has once again closed in a little bit. Has got the gap down to under around about 2.6 now. Again, we're expecting Super S2K into the pit lane this time. So as long as he's able to hold on to it and doesn't make any mistakes, he should be able to exit the pit lane ahead of Ryan. But that gap is starting to come down rather quickly here as his tires do continue to fall off. 22.4 the gap now as he exits onto the back straight, using a bit of overtake to build up a bit of momentum. Ryan has closed in regardless, though. 22 seconds, under 22 seconds now between the two. Yeah, and we're expecting him to still hold on to the lead here as he does come into the pit lane for what is Super S2K's final stop. Gotta be careful, though, because his teammate will be right on his tail. Super S2, Ryan, excuse me, into that final chicane. And Super S2K will exit the pit lane now as Ryan exits onto the front straight. Super S2K out onto the soft compound tire as he was mandated to run. And will now set himself up to go for the fastest lap of the race on the final lap. So that could be a very exciting watch as we come down toward the end of this. It is still Sanchez in third from Jason in fourth, Philo running fifth, Quackadilly sixth, James seventh, Supa in eighth, Roach in ninth, Alex 10th, Payme in 11th. Now, with the tire advantage, Super S2K continues to build on that 3.5 second lead.
Yeah, another great race from Kwakadili actually. He was really happy that he managed P5 in Spa. You know, it was his best finish of the year. And now he's running P6. So great race from him as well.
Absolutely. Did you happen to have a word with him before the race today?
Yeah, I spoke with him and he said that he feels like he's been really unlucky this year with various little accidents and mistakes. But he said that starting from this race, he actually likes all the tracks that remain on the calendar. So he expects some good results because he enjoys all the circuits that we have remaining.
Well, that's good to hear, and hopefully we'll see a few more good results out of him as he crosses the line to start 2 laps to go for himself, setting a personal best lap that time around as well. Back up toward the front. Super S2K now has pulled yet another second over Ryan out back. Gonna need to be a bit careful, though, because he could potentially catch up to Alex, which might hold him up on his fastest lap attempt toward the end of this. And let's not forget, Jason is also on the soft compound tires as well, so he could mount a challenge to defend his fastest lap point that he currently holds on to. So it looks like positions on track seem to be pretty stabilized for the moment, barring any catastrophic errors from a driver or drivers. Still a fastest lap point up for grabs, potentially. As now the lead grows to over 5.5 seconds.
In all fairness, if I was S2K, I wouldn't care at all about the fastest lap. There is a lot more risk involved than the benefit. You know, he still leads the championship. His main rival is out of the race. There is absolutely 0 point in risking and trying to get the fastest lap by risking and going onto the grass and spinning and losing the win, you know?
Absolutely. We will wait to see what his decision on the matter is in a few moments, though. Fortunately, that was just a bit of a lag spike, so don't worry, he did not run wide through that corner. 6.5 seconds now, his lead over Ryan, with just about a lap and a fifth remaining here in the green hell. Could we potentially see Super S2K pull a 10-second lead over Ryan before the end of this?
We could, but again, I don't really see the reason for S2K to push so hard. You know, he's in an extremely comfortable position now. He has the better tires. He has the pace. He has the lead. There is absolutely 0 reason for him to push too hard. You know.
He is out onto the back straight once again And I will also say, I think this might be, despite being the longest track on the calendar, this might be the fastest completed round of the season in terms of total time. We are only just over an hour into this race, and we are coming up to the white flag here. Obviously, still a very long lap ahead of us, but we're on pace to finish within 1 hour 17 minutes. 1 hour 16 minutes, I should say.
Yeah, the average speed here is still high. You know, as you said, a lot of corners being taken flat. So, yeah, that's probably why. But next round in Monza, probably going to be even faster because the average speed in Monza is even more. So, we'll see how it plans out.
Absolutely. That should be a very interesting battle indeed. And one other point I just want to make note to as we watch Super S2K work this final lap. His outlap was only 0.6 off the fastest lap of the race. Now, obviously, the timer doesn't start until after he leaves the pit lane, which would save him a little bit of time, but with how close the start-finish line is to the pit exit, that's a pretty representative time, and we're already seeing purple sectors out of him. And you know how I mentioned the potential for him to have a 10-second lead over the field? Yeah, that's going to be blown out of the water here. He's already up to 9.5 seconds ahead of Ryan. Evidently carrying a lot more speed through these medium and low speed corners. Using all of the curb available to him. Not a purple sector there, though. And that's because Kastman has gone and set a new fastest lap of the race, 5 minutes 16.9. So Jason pushing to hold on to that bonus point.
Yeah, it's going to be close on time. S2K is within a tenth of Jason's time at the moment, so we'll see how it goes.
Through the slowest corner on the circuit again, still dropping down the hill. He set another purple sector, 0.3 up on his personal best. At least I think that's what that timer is showing to his personal best. It might be over Jason's, though.
Yeah, if it shows purple, it means it's over Jason's time.
Interesting. Okay, then. So all 0.3 up on that 16.9. So realistically, just needs to cruise it back to the line then. Although I say that he's didn't have as good of a sector that time. Only 0.2 clear through there. Gap up to nearly 13 seconds, and we'll ride on board with him as he goes through the carousel here, or approaches the carousel, I should say. Using all of the track width available to him. Just kissing the curb on the exit. Help keep the car in check. And very cleanly through the carousel. Great exit for him there. Completely flat out through this section. Just a minor lift as he crests the hill. And he's found yet another couple of tenths over Jason's lap. Jason can obviously go for another one on his final lap as well. But I wouldn't imagine it'll be any faster given the rate that the tires wear. Half a second over the fastest lap. Although he looked like he might have run a little bit wide through a couple of those corners, so gotta be careful. And that's incredible that that's flat out. Absolute astonishment from both the drivers and this car. It is truly a sight to behold. Just the level of commitment and precision that these drivers have at the wheel. Through the mini carousel and just a few corners left on this final lap here at the Nürburgring. Completely flat out to the line, and we're going to watch as he now drains the overtake button down this main straight. There he goes. 175 miles an hour under the bridge, climbing up to 180 down the hill. The car topping out not from gear but from aerodynamic limiting factors. Going to crest the hill, and we're going to see what sort of top speed he can get down this final downhill section. 181 potentially. Yeah, 181. Gearing not quite going to let him get to 182. So late on the brakes. And that will do it for Super SUK as he will round the final corner and in a dominant display wins it at the Nürburgring, setting a 5-minute 15.5 en route to complete the final lap. Ryan will around the final corner now and will cross the line nearly 19 seconds back from his teammate. Sanchez will come home. It's back-to-back podiums for him. It's a great result. Jason will come home, potentially a bit disappointed with the fourth place finish, but still a good result nonetheless. Slides it a bit of snap of oversteer on exit, celebrating with the throttle. Philo, a brilliant result for you. Fifth place. I don't know how many times he's finished in the top 5 on the season, but not many. But a great result nonetheless. Still a little ways to go before he gets to the line. And actually, I don't know if that's a glitch or if he just legitimately didn't use any overtake. That's a bit surprising if he didn't use any. Philo will cross the line and round out the top 5. So great result for him. And then we will wait on Quackadilly, Supa, Smai, and Roach to round out the field here with just over a minute remaining on the timer. I don't think Roach will be able to get back to the line, but he will come home 9th. I don't think James will be able to get back to the line either, unfortunately. Supa might get close. He got a little bit wide out of the final corner. Quackadilly gets to the end of the main straight now. Excuse me. And he will come home, rounding out the top 6. Well done to Quackadilly on that P6 finish. Another strong result for him. Doesn't quite match his personal best from last time out at Spa, but still a great result nonetheless. And so now it's really just a question of can Supa get back to the line before time expires here. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close. He will round the final corner now. 5, 4, 3, 2. He's there. Well done to Supa. Bring it home 7th. And that will do it for us. Round 13 here at the Nürburgring. Don't go anywhere just yet. We're going to try to get post-race interviews in with our top 3. Congrats to them once again. And we'll be back in just a few moments, folks. Stay tuned.
What's up, boys?
How's it going? Congrats on the win.
Thank you. I was surprised that I made it across the line one piece.
Certainly More than can be said for quite a few of our drivers, unfortunately, today, but
Yeah.
well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll just wait for the other podium sitters to join us, and hopefully have interviews underway momentarily.
DK will be in here in a little bit, so just give him like a couple seconds.
All right. In the meantime, then, I suppose we'll get started. Post-race interviews here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Starting off, P3, back-to-back podium finishes for Sanchez. Another strong result. Back-to-back, like I just said, back-to-back podiums from both Spa and here at the Nürburgring coming off of the summer break. Is this momentum that you're looking to carry through into the final 5 races of the season? Do you think you might be able to challenge AMS for the win, potentially?
I mean, hopefully. I'm not sure if one of those Tokyo street races, the one that has like a really long straight, is like towards the end. I think that's my best chance since there's barely any low speed corners and such.
All right. Well, yet another strong result. Of course, part of that was being one of the few drivers to keep your nose clean throughout the event. How tricky was it out there with both track conditions and, of course, the track geometry as well? Obviously, very tall curbs and aggressive bumps in such a low-sprung and high-speed car. Would you say the most difficult car-track combination on the calendar?
For me, yeah. Since I don't know why, but I kept losing a bunch of time at the carousel because like it was just very difficult to turn. No matter what, I kept losing time and I couldn't catch drifting.
All right. Well, fantastic result yet again. Back-to-back podiums coming off the summer break. Hopefully, we'll see you back on the podium again in a couple weeks' time at Monza. So, congrats once again. And we will move on to our second place finisher, Ryan. It was another. You've maintained your 100% podium rate in races that aren't included in your drop round scores. Another fine result, another P2 on the season. Was there anything else you had in the tank that you might have been able to catch Super S2K, or do you think he just had too strong a pace?
S2K's pace is really good, I gotta give him that for sure. But the idea with my strategy was to do the earliest on the soft so that I could try to get the undercut. But like on my stint, when I got on the softs, the wind like sped up like ridiculously in like an odd direction. So I actually burned through my soft tire a lot quicker than I thought. And then, of course, being my luck, just the world's against me when it comes to getting the top step of the podium for some reason. But when he got on the soft set, then the wind slowed down. So just terrible luck with the wind. But other than that, his pace is really good, so he deserved the win.
All right. And, of course, speaking of the wind, a series of very high-speed, potentially drafting tracks coming up. Of course, we have Monza next week, Watkins Glen, I believe, the race after that. And then, of course, later in the season, we have both the high-speed ring and the Tokyo Street Circuit, all of which have very long straight line sections, very high-speed circuits. Do you expect to see a lot more tactical use of slipstream and overtake coming up in those events, or is there potentially some setup trickery that you guys might be able to figure out to give yourselves an advantage?
For Monza, it's basically just going to be like your typical Monza race, so I don't expect too many drafting strategies going on there. But high-speed ring is going to be something, because it's on these cars, it's basically going to be like a NASCAR race. Like, you're going to have one braking zone on the entire track. So it's going to be interesting.
All right. Well, we're certainly looking forward to it. Should be very exciting. Of course, like we said, Monza in a couple weeks' time, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But before we get to that, your winner here at the Nürburgring, pulling out a 19-second advantage over the rest of the field. Super S2K obviously kept your nose clean the whole day. Really just looked to control that from start to finish. Was there ever any question in mind? Of course, we saw Nico keeping up with you for the early stages before he had his accident. What was going through your mind when you saw that happen in your mirror?
Yeah, I mean, overall the race was pretty clean, pretty good. When I saw Nico behind me, I mean, initially what I was doing, I was trying to keep Nico behind me and force a mistake because the dirty air is really difficult around this track. I knew he had a higher downforce package on his car, and I knew it was going to be a little bit harder to shake him off, but luckily he made a mistake, which is the thing I was hoping for. After that, I had a pretty big gap, or a decent gap, between me and my teammate. So I knew at that point I could just kind of run away with what I had, or just use 85 to 90% of my pace, still leaving some room for error if there was anything to happen. But, I mean, overall, just try to keep it clean, not try to push for a hot lap every single lap, and it worked out in my favor, so yeah.
Absolutely. And then, of course, mentioning your pace, we saw you use a slightly alternate tire strategy compared to everyone else, where you only made the pit onto the soft tires with 2 laps to go. Was that done intentionally to give yourself the best opportunity to go for fastest lap? And then how much pace were you using on that final lap going for the fastest lap?
It was intentional that I went on there with, to use the soft tire for 2 laps. I was thinking about pitting at the end of 11, so I would get 3 laps on the soft tire, but I wanted to get the fastest lap, just maximize the points on the day. So I decided that my medium tires were pretty good, so I decided, okay, let me stay out one more, try to keep the gap between me and Ryan, over 20 seconds, which I was managing pretty well. And then after that, when I came for the soft tire, I kind of took the out lap easy. And then when it came to the hot lap, I was maybe using 90 to 95% pace. Again, still being cautious in certain parts of the track where I know the car can slide and potentially snap on me. And I knew I was having a really big risk there, just trying to push for the fastest lap. But, I don't know what's the term, but you have to risk things in life. So, yeah.
All right. Well, a very strong result once again. Yet another win on the season. Of course, this was your first race back after the summer break, so potentially a little more recharged than everyone else who had already had a race under their belt, or were you potentially concerned about just knocking the rust off?
To be honest, when I was practicing, I was knocking the rust off. I mean, before the race, you could even ask Ryan. I was going pretty insane. I couldn't get a hold of the car. I was wrecking here, wrecking there, and then I had a nice break in between my practice and the race, and it was really nice. I got myself to regroup, and after I regrouped, I said, okay, I know what I have to do. Just keep the nose clean, and you'll have a good result. I thought it was going to be a lot close between Ryan, and I thought he actually was going to win the race because the pace he had prior to the race itself was astounding. I mean, I couldn't keep up with him. But again, just giving your mind a break is a nice bit to have. So I'd say it helped me a bit. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Those were your podium sitters here at the Nürburgring. Like I mentioned, not next week. I gotta find the. Oh dear, I should have looked at the date. Monza, it will be coming up September 27th, so 2 weeks' time. We will hope to see you back there in time for that. It should be a fairly exciting race and potentially completed even faster than today. Of course, we did, in fact, complete this fastest completed Super Formula race so far this season. We'll look to see to eclipse that. 52 laps in Italy. Should be a fun one. Then, of course, Watkins Glen, Interlagos, High Speed Ring, and Tokyo Expressway to round out the season. Only 5 races left, and the championship is still as tight as ever. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I've been Scorpio Blade, and we will see you all next time. Goodbye.